In the kingdom of Umudike, peace reigned as fiercely as thunder, for it was known across the land that King Ezenwa was a just ruler. His wisdom and strength had drawn prosperity to Umudike, and the people lived in harmony. But there was one shadow that lingered over Ezenwa's rule, a shadow that clung to his heart and left a rift in his spirit. King Ezenwa had no heir. It was an irony that the gods had blessed him with power, wealth, and wisdom, yet withheld the gift of a son or daughter to carry on his legacy. His beloved wife, Queen Adaora, had prayed, fasted, and visited the sacred shrines, yet her womb remained empty. The priests and priestesses of the land chanted, sacrificed, and sought the favor of Ola, the earth goddess, and Adaora, the god of thunder. Still, silence answered their pleas. The king's anguish grew as the moons passed, and the royal chambers seemed to close in around him. Ezenwa knew that a king without an heir was like a tree without roots. The bloodline of a king was not only his pride but his duty to the kingdom. Without a successor, Umudike would be plunged into turmoil and contested claims to the throne. Years turned to decades, and with each passing season, whispers grew among the elders and chieftains. Who would rule after Ezenwa? Would the gods truly let their favored kingdom fall into chaos? The people loved their king, but they feared a future without his leadership. The chiefs began to meet in secret, debating possible heirs and scheming to position their own bloodlines. But King Ezenwa was resolute. He refused to name an heir who did not carry his blood, even as he aged and the sands of his time slipped away. One fateful day, a mysterious traveler arrived at the gates of Umudike. She was a striking woman with eyes as dark as the night and skin kissed by the sun, her hair woven into long, intricate braids adorned with cowries. She introduced herself as Adaora, a priestess from the ancient lands of Adaora. Rumor held that Adaora could commune with spirits beyond the mortal plane, and she carried secrets only the most ancient priests dared whisper. Adaora requested an audience with King Ezenwa, claiming that she bore knowledge that could break the curse upon his house. With a skeptical but curious heart, the king granted her entry. As Adaora approached his throne, her steps echoed like the beat of a sacred drum, and she spoke with a voice that held both power and sorrow. "My king," she began, her gaze unwavering, "the gods have spoken to me, and I carry a message that may bring life to your line. But heed my warning, what I reveal to you will come with a price, a path not easily walked." Ezenwa's heart raced, for he knew that every choice born of the gods' favor came at a cost. Still, he had waited long enough. He was prepared to sacrifice anything, even his life, for an heir. "What must I do?" Ezenwa asked, his voice steady. Adaora held her hand over a pouch tied to her waist. From it, she drew a feather black as night, stained with markings only the ancient gods would understand. "You must embark on a journey, my king, a journey of spirit and sacrifice. Only then will you find the heir you seek." King Ezenwa stared at the feather in Adaora's hand, its black surface seeming to absorb the light around it. He hesitated, sensing the gravity of what lay ahead. Yet his desire for an heir, for a legacy, urged him forward. "What must this journey entail, Adaora?" he asked, his voice laced with both caution and determination. Adaora's gaze hardened. "The journey I speak of is not one of distance, but one of spirit. You must descend into the realm of Onimiri, the spirits who dwell beneath the waters, for it is they who guard the path to your heir. Only through their blessing can you fulfill your heart's desire." Ezenwa shivered. He had heard tales of Onimiri. The spirits were as old as the earth itself, their powers vast and unknowable. To enter their realm was to challenge forces beyond human understanding. Many who sought their favor were never seen again. Queen Adaora, who had been listening intently beside him, placed a hand on his arm. "My king," she whispered, "are you sure this is wise? The gods may have denied us an heir for a reason. Perhaps we are not meant to disturb the spirits." But Ezenwa shook his head. Ijeoma, this is our last hope. I cannot let our kingdom face ruin because we lacked an heir. If there is even a chance, I must take it. Turning to Adaora, he nodded resolutely. I will go. Tell me what I must do. Adaora smiled, though it was a sad and knowing smile, as if she could see the hardships that awaited him. Very well, my king. You must journey to the sacred lake at the edge of the kingdom under the full moon. There, you will find the portal to the realm of Onimiri. But remember, once you enter, the spirits will test you. Only a pure heart and an unshakable will can survive their trials. The king nodded, feeling a tremor of anticipation mixed with dread. He would go, for the future of his kingdom depended on it. On the night of the full moon, King Ezenwa set out alone, clothed in simple garments to avoid drawing the attention of his people. The air was thick with silence, and the moon cast an ethereal glow over the land. With each step, he felt the weight of his choice, the burden of what he was leaving behind and the uncertainty of what he would find. At last, he reached the sacred lake, its surface like polished glass reflecting the heavens. Adaora's words echoed in his mind, and he could feel the presence of unseen forces watching him, waiting. Summoning his courage, he knelt at the edge of the lake and whispered a prayer to the spirits, asking for their guidance. Then, taking a deep breath, he waded into the water, feeling it grow colder and heavier as he went deeper. When he was chest deep in the lake, a sudden, powerful pull tugged at him, dragging him down. He gasped, struggling to stay afloat, but the force was relentless, pulling him beneath the surface. Panic surged within him, but just as he thought he would drown, he felt a strange calm settle over him. His body relaxed, and he surrendered to the pull. In an instant, the water around him disappeared, and he found himself standing in a place that defied reality. The air was thick and humid, filled with whispers and echoes that seemed to come from every direction. Before him stretched a path lined with luminescent stones, their glow illuminating the dark, mysterious landscape. This is the realm of Onimiri, he murmured, awestruck. As he took his first step, a voice like thunder echoed through the air. Why have you come to the sacred realm of the spirits, mortal king? The voice boomed. Ezenwa straightened, his voice unwavering. I have come to seek an heir, so that my kingdom may prosper and my people may know peace. A figure appeared before him, tall and cloaked in shadows, its face hidden beneath a hood. To seek an heir is to seek a legacy. But legacies do not come without sacrifice. The king took a deep breath. I am willing to pay any price. The figure's eyes gleamed with a strange light. So be it, mortal. You will face 3 trials. Only if you succeed in each will the spirits grant your wish. Ezenwa nodded, his resolve unshaken. Tell me of these trials. The figure pointed to the path ahead. The first trial is the trial of truth. You must walk forward, and whatever you encounter, you must face it with honesty and courage. Should you falter or lie, you will be lost in this realm forever. With a final, deep breath, Ezenwa stepped onto the path, his heart steady and his mind clear. The journey had begun, and there was no turning back. As King Ezenwa walked the path, the shadows around him began to shift, forming shapes and figures that seemed hauntingly familiar. The air grew heavy, filled with whispers that called his name, voices laced with memories and regrets. Suddenly, a figure appeared before him, and Ezenwa froze, his heart pounding. It was his father, the former king, Chief Emezi, standing tall and proud, just as he had looked in life. Ezenwa, his father's voice echoed, both gentle and stern, you have come far. But tell me, my son, do you believe you are worthy to lead this kingdom? Ezenwa hesitated, memories of his father's strict teachings flooding back. His father had been a hard man, but a just ruler, respected by all. Ezenwa's answer came with the weight of years spent in his father's shadow. Yes, father, he replied, his voice unwavering. I have led Umudike with honor, as you would have wanted. I seek an heir not for myself, but for the future of our people. Chief Emezi's gaze sharpened. But are you truly willing to sacrifice everything? Even your pride, your comfort, your very life? Ezenwa held his father's gaze. Yes. For my people, I would give it all. A slow smile spread across Chief Emezi's face, and as he began to fade into the mist, he nodded approvingly. Then go forth, my son. May the spirits guide you. With that, the figure of his father dissolved, and Ezenwa felt a weight lift from his heart. He had passed the first trial, but he knew the journey was far from over. As he continued down the path, he came upon a river that cut through the misty terrain. The water was clear and calm, but there was something unsettling about its stillness. On the far side of the river stood a young woman holding a baby wrapped in cloth. Her face was obscured, but Ezenwa felt a strange connection to her. You seek an heir, do you not? She called to him, her voice soft yet filled with sorrow. Yes, Ezenwa replied, taking a cautious step forward. An heir will come, she said, but at a great cost. You must understand the burden you place upon the future. The child will bear the weight of your dreams, your fears, your legacy. Are you prepared to sacrifice even your peace for the life of an heir? Ezenwa nodded solemnly. I am. Whatever it takes, I will bear the burden. The woman tilted her head, a hint of sadness in her gaze. Then step into the river, and let it wash away all doubts and fears. Without hesitation, Ezenwa waded into the water. As he reached the center of the river, the current grew stronger, swirling around him, pulling at his ropes. Memories of his life in the palace, his moments of doubt, his struggles to lead the kingdom, all of it began to rise within him, filling him with a powerful sense of humility. When he emerged on the other side, the woman and the baby had vanished, leaving only silence. He had passed the second trial, the trial of sacrifice, but the final test lay ahead. Ezenwa walked on, his resolve now steeled for whatever lay ahead. The mist thickened, and he found himself at the entrance of a cave, its dark maw stretching into the unknown. He entered, the darkness swallowing him whole, and as he ventured deeper, a chilling voice echoed through the air. You have faced your past and embraced sacrifice. But now, King Ezenwa, you must confront your greatest fear. Before him appeared a vision, one that struck fear into his heart. It was his kingdom, Umudike, but it was desolate, its once thriving villages reduced to ruins. His people were scattered, his palace crumbling, and no heir stood by his side. He was alone, his kingdom a shell of what it once had been. This is your fear, isn't it? The voice whispered. The fear that, without an heir, all you have built will be lost to time. Ezenwa felt a pang of despair, but he clenched his fist, his determination unbroken. Yes, I fear this. I fear for my people, my kingdom. But I know now that I cannot control everything. The gods will decide our fate, not I. A silence fell over the cave, and then, out of the darkness, the figure of a child emerged, a boy, his eyes bright with intelligence and a spark of curiosity. Father, the child said, his voice soft but filled with strength. Ezenwa's heart swelled with emotion. He reached out, but the boy dissolved into mist, and in that moment, Ezenwa understood. He would not find an heir through force or fear. He had to trust the gods and live his life with honor, so that when the time came, an heir would be granted to him by divine will. The cave faded, and Ezenwa found himself standing once again by the lake, Adaora watching him from the shore. You have passed the trials, she said, her voice filled with reverence. Return to your people, for the spirits have blessed you. An heir will come when the time is right. With newfound peace, Ezenwa returned to Umudike, his heart unburdened. He continued to rule justly, and as the years passed, the kingdom thrived. Then, one fateful morning, Queen Ijeoma gave birth to a son, a child foretold by the spirits, destined to lead with wisdom and strength. And so, King Ezenwa's legacy was fulfilled, not through fear or sacrifice alone, but through faith in the path the gods had set before him. As years passed in Umudike, King Ezenwa ruled with a wisdom deepened by his journey into the spirit realm. His people noticed the change in their king. His heart was lighter, his spirit stronger. Though he continued without an heir, he no longer carried the weight of despair. His faith in the gods' timing had become his strength. One day, word spread through the kingdom of a great festival to honor the ancestors and the gods, for Umudike had seen a season of unparalleled prosperity. The fields were lush with crops, and the rivers ran clear and full. The people gathered to celebrate, offering thanks for the peace and abundance they enjoyed. During the festival, Queen Adaora, radiant and beloved by the people, danced with grace before the ancestors' shrine. She moved with joy and freedom, her heart finally at peace. As she danced, she felt a flutter within her, an unfamiliar yet unmistakable sensation. She placed a hand on her abdomen, a soft gasp escaping her lips. Ezenwa, standing nearby, saw her expression and knew immediately. Tears welled in his eyes, and he joined his queen, holding her hands in his. The people watched as their king and queen embraced, understanding that the gods had indeed blessed their ruler. For the first time in years, they felt the certainty of a new future. Months later, the people of Umudike rejoiced as Queen Adaora bore a healthy son, a boy with a piercing gaze and a quiet strength that mirrored his father's. They named him Chimeli, God has triumphed. From his earliest days, Chimeli showed a wisdom beyond his years, as if he carried within him the lessons his father had learned in the realm of Onimiri. King Ezenwa watched his son grow with pride and gratitude, knowing that the gods had chosen this child to carry on his legacy. As the years passed, Ezenwa taught Chimeli not only the ways of the kingdom but also the humility and courage required to lead. He spoke of the spirits, of sacrifice, and of the trials he had endured to ensure that Umudike would remain a place of peace and justice. Chimeli listened closely, absorbing the stories and the lessons his father imparted. When the day came for Ezenwa to pass on his crown, he did so with the knowledge that Umudike's future was secure. As the people celebrated the coronation of Chimeli, they looked to their new king with hope, knowing he carried within him the strength of his ancestors and the blessings of the spirits. Under Chimeli's rule, Umudike continued to flourish, its people thriving under the leadership of a king who honored his father's legacy and the gods who had guided his path. And so, the kingdom lived on, bound by faith, sacrifice, and the unwavering love of a king who had once walked the realm of spirits to secure a future for those he loved.